Hey Ringside crew, welcome to the internationally known Dudes at Ringside podcast. And now here's your host, Joe Panther III.
Hey, hello there, wrestling fans. Welcome to another episode of the internationally known Dudes at Ringside podcast. I am Joe Panther III, and we are in the middle of Tri-State Wrestling Month. And this gentleman right here personifies greatness in the New York wrestling scene. Let's give a warm Dudes at Ringside welcome to the Greek god, PapaDon. Welcome back to Dudes at Ringside, PapaDon. Welcome back.
Thank you for having me, but allow me to correct you there, Sunshine. I do not personify greatness in the New York wrestling scene. I personify greatness in professional wrestling worldwide. So let's not get things misconstrued here. I'm not some little regional Joe Schmo that's doing this for a hot dog and a handshake. I'm a seasoned veteran and a ring general. So let's get things started off on the right foot here.
Okay. Sorry about that, Greek god.
No, it's okay, man. We all make mistakes.
And I respect you, and I've known you for a long time since I lived on Long Island. I remember seeing you back in the day at NYWC, getting your ropes, hitting those ropes, and flying around and winning those championships. I remember seeing you come in with that 9 championship belts coming out to the ring on every arm, like belt down.
Yeah.
And up to your belly button, you had belts. I remember that day coming to NYWC, and they were at that church. You came out and you had 9 belts? I was like, whoa, this man, he's something.
Well, it's in my veins. We invented professional wrestling, and it's embedded in my DNA, and that just makes me better than everybody else because what they need to learn, I already know. So
awesome. So, Greek god, what have you been up to since the last time we were in the studios?
What haven't I been up to? I've been very blessed to be consistently wrestling week in and week out on the weekends, all over the world. So I'm continuing to do what I do best. That's entertain the fans, either as a heel, either as a baby face. Majority of the time, it's as a heel. And make that emotional connection, give them their money's worth. Give them moments to remember me by, get over with them. And when they leave the show, I'm the one they're talking about, whether I'm the first match in the main event. Usually I'm in the main event. Not to sound arrogant, but it's just factual. And that's all I've been doing. Just being consistent, honing my craft, keep getting better and better, and outworking everybody and out talking everybody. I'm 47 years old, brother. Been doing this for 25 years. And to be honest with you, no one can touch a freaking candle, can light a candle to me. No one could touch me on the mic or in the ring. And it shows. This past weekend, I just wrestled for Wrestling Is Now in Brooklyn, New York, where I teamed with my my trainer, Homicide, in his last match at Wrestling Is Now. And we had Jorge Sante in a 6-man versus Joel Maximo, Adrian Santos, and Steve Pena. And we tore it up, and we gave the fans what they needed, what they wanted, and that was good professional wrestling. This weekend, upcoming, this Saturday, I'll be in Virginia Championship Wrestling down in Virginia, where I'll be wrestling Ken Dixon, and Nikita Koloff will be there. Hampton High School, I believe it is, in Hampton, Virginia. And he'll be signing and taking pictures, kissing babies, all that stuff. And then the next 2 weeks, I'll be wrestling for NYWC. The 23rd, I'll be in Mulcahy's out in Wantaw, which is their big show that they have at Mulcahy's Bar and Grill. And the 29th, I'm at NYWC at their Sportatorium in Deer Park. So I'm consistently keeping myself busy, just getting better and better and better and better. Had a Grand Slam weekend 2 weekends ago with the NWA when they came up here in the Northeast. Wrestled all 3 dates with them. Freeport, Long Island on Friday, I wrestled Fox Vineyard, that crazy son of a bitch. He's like a cartoon character come to life. We had a nice little match ski. Got the W, of course. Then night 2 had a 6-man, myself, Damon Knight, and Aaron Stevens, the smartest man in professional wrestling, versus the Slime Balls and Jack Corbett. Jack Corbett was like the hometown boy. He cheated. He rolled up Aaron Stevens, pulled his tights, poked him in the eye, held him down, schoolboy 1, 2, 3, then claimed like he beat him, but whatever. And then Sunday we wrestled in New Jersey. I wrestled for the first time Chris Steeler, great talent. We had a great match. Aaron Stevens was managing me in my corner, and we easily squashed him like a grape, and just showed the unification of the smartest man in the world, Aaron Stevens, and the alpha and omega of professional wrestling, the Piocalitero, Palisti, Seoloto Cosmo, the greatest wrestler alive, GGP, Greek PapaDon, come together and give the fans exactly what they want. And that's excellent professional wrestling. So that's what I've been up to this month alone. So
wow, you've been burning the roads, man. You've been really burning. It's so awesome to hear that. Like it some wrestlers have is there ever an off season for you? Like
no.
I know there's like wrestling has the winter season, and sometimes that slows down indie stuff, but it doesn't sound like it stops for you.
No, I mean, there may be a month or two where there's a little less bookings than normal, or there may be a month where the bookings have doubled and I'm wrestling 2-3 times a weekend, and at the end of the day, I mean, it's just consistency, reps, get your reps in, kids. That's it. And you'll get better and better. One day you might be as good as me, but I doubt it, but you can try. It's good to have dreams.
What is like your normal workout regimen like?
Normally I do 2 body parts a day. I used to do 1. I switched it up about a couple years ago. I'll do legs on a Monday, let's say, or Sunday or Tuesday or whatever, beginning of the week. And that's the only body part that I'll do once a week, and I'll concentrate just on that one day, legs alone. Then I'll probably do like chest and abs, shoulders, back and chest and tries, shoulders. I'm sorry. Let me rephrase that. I'm sorry. Chest and buys, shoulders, back and tries, and then repeat it again, and try to hit him twice in 1 week, and do cardio. I jump rope in between sets, or I try to jump rope for 5-10 minutes every time I go to the gym. I walk on a treadmill, half hour, 45 minutes on an incline, 15, speed about 4.1 for a half hour, 45 minutes if I'm really feeling froggy, and just watch what I eat, man. I've been cutting up. I've trimmed up a lot. My abs are back. They're popping out, and looking to get in the best shape of my life. So, and I'm doing the carnivore diet now, where I've been or the carnivore lifestyle. I mean, I kind of call it a diet. So that's been helping tremendously, where I've been focusing on eating whole foods, but mainly eggs, steak, chicken, fish, cheese, and butter, any animal products. And that's it. But it works for me. It doesn't work for everybody. I love eating meat. So
yeah. So what is like your one weakness when it comes to like the food part of it?
Oh, peanut butter and chocolate.
Oof.
It's the second greatest tag team in all life. So
that's Greek God's weakness. Peanut butter. Mine's strawberries and whipped cream. I'm like, oh damn it! Come on, why'd you have to make that for dessert?
That's great, but strawberries are good for you, man. A lot of antioxidants in berries. The whipped cream you got to be careful with. I mean, the chemicals in that. But if you can get a natural Cool Whip that doesn't have hydrogenated oils in it or any chemicals, or you can make your own Cool Whip using egg whites or whatever. It's healthy, bro. Just eat away.
Yeah. So what would you say have been like your craziest ring story you've ever had?
You're talking to me to think about 25 years of ring stories. I can't tell you those stories. I'm not incriminating myself for others.
Okay, don't do that. Do you have any like fun stories from the road?
Oh, of course, a ton. I mean, there's been times where we just like rib each other. Here, I'll tell you a good one. My former manager, shout out to the sure thing, John Shane. He used to manage myself and Havoc, my former tag team partner Ed Toscano, may he rest in peace, when we were the tag team, The Solution, and we were a staple in the Northeast tag team wrestling scene here. He was driving. We did a show one night in Missouri, Queens, for a company called LXW at the time, and we wrestled the show. Promoter skips out the back door. I know where he lived. We went to his house. We got our money, and it was super late. We got home. We had to wake up early the next day for a Sunday show, early in Jersey for JCW, Jersey Championship Wrestling, Ricky O's old promotion. Shout out to Ricky O. So on the way there, I go to Havoc. We need to change our theme song. At the time, we were using Bulls on Parade, and we were using it for a while. And the reason why I wanted to change it is because the Havana Pitbulls, Rocky Romero, and his partner. Oh man, CT is kicking in right now. Shit. Oh man. Anyway, the Havana Pitbulls, they were using it in Ring of Honor. Ring of Honor was getting a lot of traction at the time. I didn't want to come off like we were stealing their song, even though we had it first, right? I mean, technically, no one owns it because it's Rage Against the Machine. You know, it's not like we paid for it, but whatever. It was the early 2000s. So we're in the car, and John Shane puts on the Pulp Fiction soundtrack, and they play the song during the scene where Ving Rhames gets taken downstairs, and Bruce Willis is chained up and finds a samurai sword. And you know, I liked it because it had a good drop. It went and then the beat comes in. So I go to Havoc, yo, that's a nice drop. We can come in and Havoc flips out. No way. He goes, do you know what this song represents? When people would think of this song when we come out to this? I was like, no, what are you talking about? Because you haven't seen Pulp Fiction? And at the time I didn't. I said, no. He goes, during this scene, there's a guy getting pounded from the back, getting raped. And I don't want them thinking about two guys having a rape scene when we come. I was like, oh, okay. Never mind. Good point. Point well taken. So at the time, I heard on a podcast that the Haas brothers, Charlie and Russ Haas, Charlie used to rib Russ, or his brother Russ, and Russ may rest in peace too. And I heard the story that Charlie would go and change their music without Russ knowing, going to the ring. And then when Russ get furious, what's going on? Who did this? He would put the heat on their opponents. So Russ can go in the ring and kick the crap out of them and make it look even more legit, right? I mean, they're already legit, two NCAA guys, right? Yeah. So he used to rib his brother all the time. I thought that was fascinating. I'm like, that's genius. So I tell Havoc the story. I said, you want to do it with John? He's like, yeah. So what happened was, storyline-wise at the time, John Shane turned on us. And when he turned on us, he went with our nemesis, the Dirty Rotten Scoundrels at the time. So we told the Dirty Rotten Scoundrels that we're going to do the gimmick where we're going to switch John's music. So John was talking with Ricky O, and I think Pat Kenny, Simon Diamond at the time. I think they were like booking the show and getting everything in production in order at the time. And we go to John, we're going to grab a bite to eat. Can we borrow your car? He's like, yeah, go, pick me up a sandwich. So we're going to go to this place, Nino's, to go get some food in the good pizzeria over there. I think it was Lodi, if I'm not mistaken. But we go up we get the CD out of the car. We give it to the DJ. Yo, John Shane says he wants you to play this track from this CD when he comes out. Okay. We go, we eat, we come back, we'll bring him a sandwich. So we're on the top tier where people can't see us, but we can see down into the gorilla position right before he goes to the curtain. Dirty Rotten Scoundrels come out. They introduce their new manager, John Shane. And John Shane's looking up at us, and we're laughing. And he's like, the fuck's so funny? And all of a sudden, the beat drops. That song that Havoc flipped out about not to use, we gave it to John. And John looks at us. He's like, F you guys. And he storms out to the middle of the ring. And he grabs the mic, and he says exactly what happened. Who changed my music? You know what people think when they hear this song? Some guy getting raped by another dude in a movie. That is not my song. You people are all disrespect. And we're dying laughing. And it was
Oh my
hilarious.
god.
Real, real foolish, childish stuff like that. That's harmless, you know. But you know, I
But
mean, we've
fans
all played.
remember stuff like that,
I don't remember it. John's told me that story, and now I'm just he does it a lot better. But John Shane, and I'm not saying this because he's a friend of mine, but he's the greatest manager never to be on TV.
Mm.
I swear to God, this guy, if he was in the late 70s, early 80s, he would be up there in WWE or at the time WWF or the NWA or in World Class Championship Wrestling or Memphis, wherever. And he would get so much heat. He has such a great mind for professional wrestling. It's just a shame that when he came into fruition alongside us through the Doghouse, the early 2000s, that's when the managers became quote unquote passe and weren't used anymore. And then they got replaced by the divas. So, wrong time, wrong place, but I give the devil his dues. He's the greatest manager never to be on TV. So shout out to John Shane. I love you, my brother. So that's your story. Hopefully you liked it.
I loved it. That was great. That was so great. I love that one. That was a good one. I really like that one. And sometimes I get like these weird stories because I interview people from like as far as London, England, Scotland, blah blah blah. But then it's always finishes up with a curse because it's Scotland. Don't listen to my mom. They never talk about random stuff with people from Scotland. My mom's like, why? And it always ends with an F or an S. She's like, what? I'm like, oh, fucking shit, yes. Or this used to be the C word. I'm like, whoa, 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 whoa. We don't go there. We don't want to get arrested, get in trouble.
Yeah, well, they use it differently. It's like a term of endearment over there. So
yeah. Back in the day, I was interviewing a female wrestler, and she was the first one that dropped it there. And I was like, she's like, are you okay? Did you just freeze, Joe? I'm like, no, my body froze because I thought of every girl just conga line and kicking me in the nuts. Like,
tremendous.
It's like, I didn't say it. It was her. Why are you kicking me? Why are you praising her? Like, but yeah, crazy. So let's go into like your gear, like the stuff you wear to the ring. Do you like you ever get any inspiration to like anything from the past? Like, where do you get your ideas and who makes your stuff?
Let's see. I wanted to get a 300 like a Spartan outfit, and I came close to buying a real good replica one, like a movie replica one, but it was too small. And this thing weighed a ton, like the shield, the spear. I'm like, I'm not carrying this crap town to town. You know what I mean? So it ended up not working out. I wear a robe that is a a Matrix jacket that I bought from museumreplicas.com. Thanks to Christopher Daniels for giving me the insight to that website. And I bought the Matrix jacket and I got it altered. So it looks like a robe and I wear it low and it hangs off my elbows. I wear it draped around and so it looks low and it drags on the ground. Because I've seen plenty of pictures and movies where they're wearing togas and robes on top of robes and some of them are hanging low. And I said, let me wear this. So I got a black one like that. I got a couple of blue, black, red coats that I wear here and there. Blue and red robe as well. That isn't as long as the black robe that I used to wear. I recently got this nice track jacket that I bought. And I got the Greek links in gold coming down the sleeves and the Greek flag over here. Got a pair of trunks that matches the jacket. So I come in zipped up. And I look like a quote unquote shooter, type of wrestler. So that's when I changed the look here and there because at the end of the day, it's all wrestling. And if it's all wrestling and it's all Greek. And being of Greek descent and the fact that I read it, write it, and speak it, I'm 100% Greek. It all fits. It's all reality that's a little embellished, which makes for the best gimmicks. And obviously, it also makes for the best heels or bad guys or villains, because when I come out and I start berating everybody and start stating facts, they might be a little embellished, but the fact is, Greeks are the forefathers of civilization. We have invented everything. And we did invent professional wrestling. We're the inventors of everything. So, point being is I tell them that makes me better than you people. We're off to the races. It writes itself, you know?
Mm.
So, that's basically it. As far as the gear, I usually wear blue, red, or black with some Greek links that are on it. I like the Greek link design. I try not to complicate the gear. At one point I was just going to go with just solid trunks. But I said, nah, let me spice it up a little and add some flair and pizzazz to it, but not too much, just enough, so people can realize that it's not about the garment, but it's about the person who's wearing what he's wearing. That's they have to worry about. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like now with the internet, we could be able to go on like an app like Peacock. Do you ever go back and watch any of the old
Always.
like WCW or NWA stuff or old?
Listen, my favorite time. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, Joe.
No.
I grew up here in New York. Okay. I am the son of immigrant parents that came here from Greece, first generation here in the U.S. I grew up in New York, Queens, New York. I'm a Queens boy to heart. Let's go Mets. Point being is people think that, oh, you must be a big WWF guy. I like the WWF. It was the first inclination of wrestling I saw. Hulkamania, Saturday Night's Main Event, British Bulldogs, everything. Macho Man, Adrian Adonis, all that stuff. My love and heart lies with Jim Crockett Promotions and the NWA. TBS 605, the Superstation. Power Hour on WPIX Channel 11 here in New York. Used to show the NWA on Saturday mornings. And the first match I saw that made me want to be a professional wrestler was Sting versus Flair in a regular TV match. And it wasn't a big Clash of the Championship match. Like I said, it's just a regular TV match on Power Hour, whatever it was called. And then Sting winning the TV championship in under 10 or 15 minutes, maybe 10 minutes, versus Mike Rotundo from the Varsity Club and winning $15,000 in cash. I looked at those two matches. I said, this is what I want to do. I want to be a professional wrestler. So I am a diehard fan of Jim Crockett Promotions and the NWA. I am a diehard fan of WCW. Those two eras of mid 80s to 1990, 91. I fell out of wrestling a couple years around 92. Got back into it around 94. And then that 96 era with the NWO was formed. And the cruiserweights were up here. And you had Benoit, Guerrero, Saturn, Finley, Jericho, Regal. All the workhorses in WCW was perfect. Raven, everybody else. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah,
that's my wrestling. I mean, I like WWF. I like WWE now. I like the Attitude Era. I mean, but I preferred Nitro over Raw. I didn't watch Raw. I watched Nitro. So yeah, man. But I'm a diehard old school fan. I watch stuff all the time. I watch old school wrestling all the time, clips here and there, matches here and there. Only because there's a lot of different flavors of wrestling. There's vanilla, there's chocolate, there's strawberry. My flavor of choice is reality and believability. When I watch something and there's two guys competing in a match, in a bout, and they're fighting, and they're going blow for blow, and they're no-selling everything, but yet at one point in the match, they stop, and the guy chops him in the chest, and because it makes a sound, he sells it like a gunshot. It tells to me that your chop is much stronger than your punch or your kick to the head, which makes no sense from a realistic point of view. It's like going from 100 to 0 instead of 0 to 100. So when you see me wrestle, everything that I do in that ring has a purpose. There's no wasted motion. Everything I do has meaning. And everything I do not only makes sense, but is believable. There's an old guy. Maybe you're familiar with them. Maybe some people are not. He was Greg the Hammer Valentine's father. Okay? he unfortunately passed away from the plane accident. I believe that Flair was in. But he said, people may not believe wrestling is real, but they're going to believe I'm real. And I took that saying and I incorporated it as my mantra to my career. So when you see me on the show and you see me kicking the crap out of somebody, you're going to second guess yourself. Oh my God, they're really fighting, because I know how to work, and working is a lost art.
As you said, you're into like the WCW stuff. Let's give me like 5 of your all-time favorite matches from WCW.
Jesus Christ.
Sorry, got you. I had to do it.
All right. There's so many. I mean, oh man. Guerrero Mysterio from Halloween Havoc is one of them. Even though one spot I thought they wasted, but other than that, the entire match is almost near perfect. Finley Regal match, even the one where they fought in the parking lot and it was just a brutal warfare. Flair Steamboat's more NWA 89. Flair Funk, that feud was Flair, that was 89. The formation of the NWO. It's not a great match, but it's a hell of a moment. Any Benoit Guerrero match or Malenko match, Ultimo Dragon match. I mean, there's so many matches that I love. Like, I was a big fan of when Perry Saturn was feuding with no, I'm sorry, it wasn't Perry Saturn. Who was it, Perry Saturn? At first it was Finley, Booker T, and maybe Perry Saturn. They were feuding over the WCW TV title, and then Rick Martel came into the mix. It ended up being Martel, Booker T, and Finley, I believe, if I have that correct. Those series of matches are great. The best of 7, I think, between, was it Finley and Booker T for the TV title, were good. I'm a big Scott Hall guy. I love Scott Hall. I thought he was one of the greatest. Loved Eddie Guerrero, one of the greatest. So there's so many to pick from. It's hard, man. It's hard. It's difficult. I try not to think in matches. I think in moments, only because I love so many matches. I just cannot sit there and say this match is better than, like when Sting beat Flair at Great American Bash and won the WCW tour and then the NWA title at the time, Big Gold. As a kid, I was marking out. Huge,
Yeah.
and stuff like that. Watching the Road Warriors turn on Dusty Rhodes and stick a spike in his eye broke my heart. Stuff like that. So it's just moments. Piper, Coconut with Snuka. Andre Hogan, where he rips the chain, where the cross off. The last thing Piper says, "You're bleeding," and then they go to commercial, and that's the last thing you remember. You're like, "Oh my God, what did I just watch?" That's good, captivating television. I mean, even now, the whole Bloodline storyline was phenomenal. From start to finish. So I don't know if it's really finished, but,
I don't think it is.
So,
I don't think it
yeah,
is
man.
either.
Moments.
Like, now, I don't know, like, I'm kind of still thinking that this whole John Cena thing is going to be just I don't know. I don't know where to think about this John Cena whole.
Well, that's where they want you to be, bro, and they're doing their job.
Yeah.
Isn't it exciting not knowing?
Yeah.
Yeah. It makes you feel like a kid again when there wasn't an internet and there wasn't dirt sheets. You just turn on the TV, you watch, and you enjoy it for what it is. Unfortunately, because the internet's around, it's a catch-22. It makes things easier for people, but at the same time, it makes it harder for not only people in general, but from a wrestler standpoint, people are finding out personal information about wrestlers left and right through the internet that may or may not want to be known. People find out traveling schedules. If they're quirky enough, they'll be able to find out when a guy's flying or landing, where he's going, or her, or whatever the case may be, and find out if they're going to debut at a new promotion. Just enjoy it, man. You don't need to be the first one to know about it. Just sit back, relax, and enjoy it. Like the thing with Cena, the turn. I didn't even watch the pay-per-view, unfortunately. I was wrestling that day. So I came home I was gonna watch it. I fell asleep because it was mad late when I got back home from the show. But I saw the clip and phenomenal, great. Now let's see where this goes. Everyone's like, "Oh, it's gonna go this way. Oh no, it's gonna go this way. It's gonna go this way. It's gonna go that way." Well, guess what? That's how you build excitement. They're building the excitement in the road to WrestleMania. They're doing a great job with it. So
Yeah. I just everybody all the people I keep seeing online, the scene is gonna come back bald like The Rock.
good. Let him shave his head.
He needs
Yes,
to.
he need. It's not about needing. He needs to change his look,
Yeah.
just like Hogan did when he went heel, just like Big Papa Pump did when Scott Steiner turned heel. You know what I'm saying? Once you go, you got to change. You got to change your look if you're really making a big turn like that. You know, if you really, I mean, Scott Steiner did it because he didn't want to be Scott Steiner from the Steiner brothers anymore. He wanted his own persona, and he came back as Big Papa Pump, and it was perfect. You know, Hogan did it because he couldn't be red and yellow Hogan, so he came back with the black beard and Hollywood Hogan. It was perfect. It was like the Darth Vader of professional wrestling joining the dark side. It made perfect sense. Now with Cena, if he comes back looking the same, it won't have that much impact. He knows that. So what's he going to wear? What's he going to do? Stay tuned. Enjoy it for what it is. Now, I'm not saying you. I'm just telling everybody in general. Try not to overthink the situation, because then you start building expectation. And when the expectation becomes too great, the outcome always is a letdown, because you think of 1,000,001 different things going into any scenario. Maybe a TV show finale, or the sequel to a movie, or what John Cena is going to look like as a heel. Just enjoy it. Don't worry about it, because guess what? He's not paying your bills. You know, like they said in the Bronx Tale, Mickey Mantle don't pay your rent. So enjoy it for what it is, man. It's entertainment. He's going to come back, and I know he's a smart dude. He didn't make all that money being stupid. He'll look different. You know, look at Muda. When Muda stopped wearing the paint and he shaved his head and started wearing the mask, changed his look. He reinvented himself. Looked great.
He looks
Started doing the
great. I
shiny
love
wood.
that mask.
Yeah, everyone does.
There was that I saw a clip on Instagram. Someone showed it to me that Muda did a moonsault with the mask. It flew off.
Oh
I
shit!
don't know where it was.
I don't know. I never seen that. That's pretty cool.
I was like, it flew. It was like seeing a unicorn. The mask flew off. He still hit the moonsault and won the match.
That's cool.
And then after he just grabbed it and like put it back on, and I was like, dude, he didn't even flinch. Boom.
Constant professional. It's another one that I loved growing up. Him and Gary Hart. Gary Hart's so underrated as a manager. He's so good. Unfortunately, he passed away too early, and people don't give him his dues, but he was awesome.
It's crazy to think we lost so many wrestlers so young, and so many great managers over the years. It's like
well, it's the rock star lifestyle, man. It's the carnival lifestyle. You know, your circus life. You live on the road. You party hard. You work hard. You know, unfortunately, people like to mix certain substances together, and it catches up to you over time. So, like, you're sleeping, 8 hours and eating the finest cuisines and putting yourself through a regimen of where you're at the gym at a certain time, and you're getting all your exercise and all your reps in. So that's the road life, man. I mean, it wears and tears on you. Those miles, they don't give back.
Yeah, they don't. And you guys, like, when you go on the road, do you like ever have to like pick and choose where you eat like before a show, or do you ever like try to?
Yes, I try to look. I'll pack some beef sticks with me. I get these Paleo Valley grass-fed, 100% grass-fed beef sticks that I'll bring with me. If I go anywhere, I try to go to somewhere where I can get eggs and meat, whether it's an IHOP or Denny's or Waffle House or whatever. If I can't, and try to go to a diner or something. If I can't, the only thing fast food is left, then I try to eat to my lifestyle of the carnivore lifestyle. Well, I'll just eat the meat. I won't have any buns, won't have any French fries, whatever. But it's difficult. It's difficult, but at the same time, it's doable. You know, you can always depend. It depends on the loop you're doing. It depends on how long you're on the road. If it's like you're driving to a show and you're driving back, you can always pre-make some meals, keep them in the car, keep them in a bag. You know what I mean? And you'll be set to go. So it's up to the individual. If you're on the road 300, 360 days straight, different story. You know, those, back in the days in the 80s, they were on the road 330 days a year, 260, 265, whatever it was. But now it's different. House shows aren't what they used to be. So they're not having as many house shows. I think guys in AEW wrestle what, 2-3 times a week?
Wow.
WWE, I don't know what their schedule is anymore. I mean, I know they may do a house show here and there, and they may do the TV tapings and the pay-per-views. But, it is what it is.
Yeah. With me being like a local podcast, I always like to give my shout out to any local businesses by you. Where would that be that one spot you would like to give a shout out to? It could be like a restaurant. It could be like a place you like to go to all the time. Where would that be, Greek God? Where would that be your?
Any local gym that's not a corporate gym is cool with me. A private gym is cool. Like I went and visited some family in Massachusetts. I think it was Rockport, Massachusetts, and I found a gym, hit the gym, and it was an old school, privately owned gym. Pictures of the bodybuilders on the wall, clean. People there are actually people who go to the gym. They don't go there to socialize. They had their little protein shake stuff and all this other stuff there. The guy who owned the gym looked like he's actually been to a gym and works out at the gym. So he asked me, "Where are you from? You look, I never seen you." And I'm like, "Oh, I'm here visiting family. I'm from New York." He goes, "What do you think of the gym?" I'm like, "This is Shangri-La." I go, "This is the heaven, dude. I don't see this anymore." He goes, "Yeah, this isn't corporate. This is just my gym." I'm like, "This is beautiful." Yeah, I was like, "If I ever move up to Massachusetts or Rockport, I'm signing up. Don't worry about it." He started laughing. But yeah, man, any local mom and pop store that's trying to make it nowadays, shout out to you guys. Any business, because it's hard. The economy isn't what it used to be. Inflation sucks. Pandemic done messed up everything many years ago for people. So to anyone who's making their own business work, kudos to you and shout out to you.
Awesome. So before we go, PapaDon, if there was any fans want to pick up any Greek God merch, where can they find it?
It's very simple. You go to Pro Wrestling Tees /Greek God PapaDon, and then my social media links. I'm on X and Instagram at Greek God PapaDon. Same thing with Threads at Greek God PapaDon. So I think it's all one account anyway. Facebook is Demetrius PapaDon. They wouldn't let me put the Greek God as the first name, so I use my real name, Demetrius PapaDon, which PapaDon is my last name. My YouTube channel, Greek God PapaDon, where I post promos and matches. And I normally do a podcast, not wrestling related. I used to be in a podcast. We got shadow banned. It was called The Conspiracy Horseman. But I'm sure if you dig deep enough, you can find some old episodes. It's myself, Ben Hamen, Stevie Richards, and Big Sal Graziano, 4 wrestlers who were talking shop about conspiracy theories, being open-minded, being free-thinking, and always questioning the narrative. It's called The Conspiracy Horseman. Maybe we might ride again one day, but we were flying too close to the sun, and we got shadow banned and demonetized on every platform. So good luck trying to find anything like that. But currently, I do a Star Wars podcast called The New Force Order, or the NFO. The logo is the NWO logo because I'm an NWO mark. We just took the W, put an F, changed the world to force, and there you go. It's myself and Dr. Alex Arroyo, who's a buddy of mine and one hell of a doctor who trains in jiu-jitsu. He's trained in professional wrestling as well, had a couple of matches for shits and giggles. And our third host who comes in ever so often, Spiro, uh, he's a riot, but he's a independent filmmaker, and
Yeah.
it's an eclectic group of guys that just talk shop about Star Wars, how good it is, how bad it is, and you can find it on all your platforms. It's called New Force Order NFO Podcast, and
Oh,
that's basically it, man.
that's awesome. I actually on this. I have done a show before. Before Dudes at Ringside existed for now. As of the middle of the second week in April will be the 9-year anniversary of my Ghost Head Nerd Talk show that I've
Ghost Head
done.
Nerd Talk. And what do you guys talk about?
We meet Rain, Val, and I. We talk about everything from the 80s, 90s, and the 2000s, from TV shows to movies to music.
Oh, that
Our
sounds
friend Rain,
awesome.
she's a DJ, a real DJ. Like, just goes when she comes on the show on Monday, she's like this. Oh my god, I'm so tired. Like, literally, she was like, last Monday I got back from Special Olympics, and she's like, "Are we doing the show?" And I went to her, "Girl, how are you? I'm tired." And Val's like, "I may not be male." We were in a group chat on Instagram. The chat was like this. I wrote, "I'm tired." Rain's like, "Me too." Val's like, "I don't think I can make it this week." And I was like, I texted Rain. Let's just change the date. StreamYard's that cool. Okay, fine. And we just changed the date. And then this past Monday, we just went on whatever. We just like whatever nerd thing popped on our head. We were just yapping about random stuff. We were just
Cool,
like having
man.
fun. Like 3 kids just hanging out on a bench in the park, like in the 90s, just talking.
Yo, man, you ever want me on that one? I jump on and talk shop with you guys anytime, dude.
Oh, hell yeah, man. I'll let you know.
Dude, I'm a big geek. I'm into comics. I draw comics. I'm into Star Wars. I'm a big movie buff, big pop culture buff. Like, again, I was born in 77, so I grew up in the 80s and the 90s. So everything you guys are talking about, I lived it. Early 2000s too, So definitely, that'd be a fun time.
I'll let you know, dude. It's something that I've done for it's still 8 until next month, the middle of the month when it starts to become the 9 years. But it's something that I built when like my aunt Lizette said, "You started this in the dark." I had to do the proper voice. My aunt Lizette has the Rosie Perez. "Randy, you started this staring into your computer with no ring light. You did this in the darkness in your bedroom. Did your parents even know you?" Like, they probably heard me talking to the floor. Honestly, they probably heard me. Like, dudes, my dad. That's why I have like that pad in front of me, so the sound's not that loud. Who can't hear a Puerto Rican talking in the basement at night? Like, I'm loud.
I get it, brother. I get it.
But
listen, man, it's passion, dude. It's passion. I mean, look, the New Force Order podcast, we came out guns a-blazing, and we're not the biggest podcast by any stretch of the imagination, but we still do it because it's therapeutic, and it's cool to talk about Star Wars, and it's just a good time. Like, I sit there, Doc and I, Alex, we sit there, we bust each other's balls, and it's like, I don't know if you're a fan of Kevin Smith or whatever, but
yeah, I like Kevin Smith.
Yeah, so it's like it's all dick and fart jokes, you know what I'm saying? All night long, just just fucking around, and it's fun, And at the end of the night, we both we both got to put the kids to bed, and then we hop on late, and we do the podcast, and we're like, okay, what are we gonna talk about? And at the end of the podcast, we're laughing, we had a good time, and we're always happy we do it. And it's even better when Spiro hops on, because
if you saw last week's episode, Rain's a goofy girl, and she has all type of stuff to say, and she never did this before. She just randomly did this in the middle of the episode. I was like, Rain, whoa, girl, you must be so tired. You just double knobbing it. Like, opening 2 doorknobs at the same time. She's like, but I did something worse. My uncle has an arcade machine in his basement, the old this is gonna give you flashbacks. The old Street Fighter 2 machine.
Yeah.
And my uncle's like he would get the quarters. He was a quarter guy. He got that one. And stupidly, I was like, I clicked the machine, and I'm just doing this out loud, out in the middle of the air during the show. And the girls are just like, and I'm just like, ha ha ha. And then I went, oh God, sorry. And then after that, they were just like, Joe, huh? Click, click, click. And I'm just like, Yes, yes, that's me. But before we go, Papa Don, if there was any kids that are just getting into the business, like what kind of advice would you give them?
Oh, well, all right, kiddies. Listen and listen well, because it's going to be good advice. One, don't let anyone deter you from chasing your dream. Okay, you only live one life. Two, this is not something that you could turn on and turn off. It's a lifestyle. So if you want to be a professional wrestler, you have to live it. You have to breathe it. You got to eat it. You got to train with it. You got to commit to it, which means that it's an entertainment business. You have to look athletic. You have to look the part. You can't be a fat slob. You can't be a twig and thinking you're God's gift because you can do a flip. Study your craft. Watch those that came before you and blazed the path. Less is more. The money is in the cell and the money is in the heat, which means that baby faces gets the sympathy through selling. Heels get their heat through heat. I know that sounds redundant, but if you know what it means, you know what it means. Baby faces move forwards, heels feel Baby faces move forward consistently. Heels always move back. And heels always throw the first punch and always attack from behind. Never wait. You don't wait for the baby face to turn around. You always jumping from behind when the back is turned, you get more heat that way. Don't ever slap your leg. I freaking hate that with so much passion. Don't be a citizen of leg slap city, like I've coined the phrase. Be the governor of real town, like your boy Greek God PapaDon. And learn to work. Because wrestling is not acting. It's reacting. Which means that they don't have the script in their lap. So you have to ad-lib 24/7, like improv comedy. You learn to work off how the room is feeling at that moment. If they want to see XYZ, but you have ABC planned, nothing's going to work. No one's getting over. So you have to adjust on the fly. Call an audible. Give them XYZ. And that only comes through repetition. So get your ring time in. Work smart. Don't work hard. Don't be busting your ass through light tubes and Cineblocks and all that other nonsense and shortening your career for stupidity. And at the end of the day, you realize as the performer in the ring, you are the puppet master. So you control the emotions in that match, in that scenario, in that show, in that ring. Do not work for a chant. Who cares if they clap? This is awesome. Don't work to hear them pop, because moves don't matter at all. Making that connection emotionally with the fans matters. And as a heel or as a competitor, let me say this even more general. As a competitor, wrestlers A job is to get over wrestlers B, and wrestler B's job is to get over wrestlers A. But in the meantime and in between time, they got to get themselves over by getting their opponents over, which then gets the story of the match over. So everyone's getting over at the same time. Don't worry about the moves. The moves mean nothing, because guess what? You do the coolest move in history, you'll get the loudest applause the first time. By the 10th time, it'll be watered down 10 times because they've already seen it. And then the move's not over, and you didn't do your job to get your opponent over, which means you're not over. So if your opponent's not over, who are you really fighting and why are you fighting? And if you beat them and go and win the match, you didn't beat anybody. So then you're nobody. So it's a consistent psychological chess game that you have to manipulate, master, and maneuver 24/7, but do it professionally and realistically and be believable. I know it's a lot to swallow. It
Good one.
definitely, but it's the truth. It's the God honest truth. I can go in that ring and I can do one punch if need be, one strike, take one bump and get my opponent over and send them home happy. Because I know how. Because that's how confident I am in myself. I've been doing this long enough. If I can't do it after 25 years, I'm in the wrong goddamn business. But to people coming into this business, again, your job is to get your opponent over. By doing that, you're getting yourself over, your character over. Look at some of the biggest characters in history. Dusty Rhodes, elbow drop. The Rock, the people's elbow. Scotty 2 Hotty, the worm. Right?
Yeah.
Triple H, who, tremendous worker. A lot of people don't give him a lot of credit for. You know, he got over sledgehammer, pedigree. Yep. You know,
that big knee he was doing for a while.
Yeah. Stone Cold adjusted on the fly when he broke his neck, changed the way he wrestled, became a brawler, but became the biggest star this industry's ever seen. You know, greatest finisher of all time, the Stunner, and he still gets he's still over to this day, and he's been retired. You know, but that's the difference between that and watching a guy do a suicide dive and 17 kicks to the head and slapping his leg on everything and again dropping his opponent on his head and kicking out a 1-2 or hitting a Canadian destroyer and it's not a finish and just everything just doesn't make sense and they're doing moves for the sake of doing moves. You can get two dogs to wrestle, two gorillas to wrestle each other, teach them holds, teach them moves, and they'll put on a match. There's a big difference making that connection with them. Everybody knows where they were when Piper hit Snuka in the head with a coconut. Everybody knows where they were when Hogan went heel. Everybody knows where they were when Cena recently went heel or when Cody won the championship or the Bloodline storyline on their key moments, you know, all that stuff. Why? Because they believed in what they were seeing because they were believing in the person themselves, not what they were doing. They believe. People remember when Goldberg beat Hogan in Atlanta. People remember when Kevin Nash beat Goldberg. You know what I'm saying? People remember, at least I remember, when Dean Malenko came back in the Battle Royal dressed as Seco Play, took off the mask, and got the loudest pop I heard. Or DDP came out just as La Parka, took off the mask, and you know, and Macho Man made DDP in their feud in WCW. Those little moments, those little tidbits, you know, you remember that stuff. WrestleMania 20, one of my favorite moments in history. Eddie Guerrero, Chris Benoit hugging in the middle of the ring because they both
was there.
Both won the championships. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, make those moments, make them count. Because you know what? In the blink of an eye, it's over. You know, and then you're gonna say, "The hell was I doing, slapping my leg for the last 20 years and just not paying attention to what the veterans were telling you guys?"
Yeah, it's sad to think that we had a chance. We saw these young wrestlers. They get taught by the wrestlers like you that have been in this business. That their tires have so much. You have so much knowledge to give them, and they're just like, but then you try to teach it them, and then they just try to brush it off, and it's depressing.
It's depressing, but then it's annoying because the first time they do it, I'll let it pass. Second time, you're cut off. You're not getting any more advice from me. I'm not wasting my time with you. And and then what happens is something happens, and I'll look at them. I said, "Hey, that thing over there that you did, what did I tell you to do? What did you do? Oh, you did the opposite. And what happened? No one cared. What would happen if you did what I told you to do? You're right. GGP's always right."
Yep.
And I'm not just saying that to sound cocky. There's two things I know in this lifestyle, in my lifetime. Number one is how to pick up chicks. Okay? And it doesn't help me any because I've been married 25 years and I don't cheat on my wife. Number two, professional wrestling. And you can attest this to one Padawan that's been sitting under my learning tree for the last couple of years, Joey Conway.
Oh, yeah.
And I tell him all the time, I said, "Dude, don't do this." But no, listen to me. Don't do this, do this, do this, do that. You're right. You're right. And if someone tells me something or someone asks me a question, I'll tell them all this and that. Oh man, you're right. Always am, dude. I'm like a sponge. I listen to things from them. Arn Anderson told other people that were told to me, things that Regal told me, things that Finley told other people in the locker room. I listen, I pick up on it like a fly on the wall, and I incorporate that into my settings. But then I pass it on to them, and then people are like, I don't know. Well, this guy did a triple Lindy and a triple flip. Well, guess what? That guy's not gonna be doing triple Lindy in 20 years when his knees are gone. You know what I mean? And no one's gonna care because he doesn't seen it for the last 20 years. No one's gonna care.
Yeah.
You know? So it's all about making that emotional connection and getting yourself over, becoming larger than life, being like a rock star.
Yeah.
But in wrestling.
Yeah. PapaDon, I want to thank you so much for coming back on the podcast. I want to wish you nothing but the best of luck on your wrestling journey and all the wins and the championship belts coming your way soon, because the dudes at Ringside Magic always works. Always.
I appreciate it, my man. From your mouth to either Billy Corrigan's, TNA's, Triple H's, Tony Khan's, New Japan's checkbook. One of those guys signed me. And we're gonna be rocking and rolling.
You deserve it, brother. You deserve
thank you, brother. That means a lot.
You're a legend, and you deserve all, because you're the man. You're the man. You're the man. You're the man. I'm not just shooting on the horn. I've seen you live. If you've never seen this man live, do you have any, before you go, is there any shows that you're performing in that, and if anybody wants to go see the Greek God perform live?
This Saturday I'll be in Virginia Championship Wrestling in Virginia, Hampton High School, when Nikita Koloff will be there as well. I'll be wrestling Ken Dixon. And then the following weekend, the 23rd, Sunday, I'll be at Mulcahy's in Wanto. NYWC's having an event. And the 29th, I'll be in Deer Park, Long Island. NYWC's having another event. So those next 3 weekends, I'll be on the road. But you guys can see me in Virginia and in Long Island. So if you're around, make it down. And if you're not, get in the car and drive your fat ass over to the show and have a good time.
Awesome. PapaDon, thank you again for coming on back on Dudes at Ringside. Also, to do Tri-State Wrestling Month and help me with this 4-year anniversary thing.
Happy anniversary, man.
Thank you. 4 years, man, of this. I feel like the old man in the ship now, when all these kids started podcasts. I'm like, hey, come hang out with Joe. I got some advice for your kids and on the bench. That's what I'm always doing. Or I get these young wrestlers that want to talk to me, and I'm like, man, if PapaDon only knew I'm talking to British people, that these 16-year-old wrestlers just getting into the business.
Listen, man, you gotta take the good with the bad, dude. It's not only in the UK; it's all over. These young generations, they're because of technology, their attention span is very limited to none. You know, and it's a detriment to themselves. You know, because you have to understand sometimes it's not the destination; it's the journey.
Yeah.
So. Thank you for having me, man.
I'm Joe Panther III.
I am the Alpha, the Omega of professional wrestling, the Greek God PapaDon, your boy, GGP.
And we will catch you in the next one.